Hey everyone, welcome to my channel. I'm Heidi Hosking and I download messages of the new way from the collective voice of our children, which is telling us all aspects of life and where it's moving forward to, what direction we're going to. So today I'm going to talk about the evolution from ASD to neurodivergence. What's next? That's what our children are wanting us to see and what we can start to move towards. So I'm just going to talk about ASD first. It's been my bread and butter in many different ways. I won't go on about it. But as a speech pathology background, child that could have been diagnosed with that, interested in working with children with, quite autistic when I was a uni student. And then that's been my path throughout my speech pathology career. And then most of the mums that I mentor have got something of that description in their family as well. So ASD first, that was really driven obviously by the medical world. It was all about pathologizing what's wrong with the child, because if we make it what's wrong with the child, it means then, they're not fitting in. And so there's a lot of hurt, a lot of unresolved hurts in mothers and families about their children who never fit in, and they were made to feel like, my child is only a pathology. So the focus is on the shadows of the child. I'm just looking at my notes to make sure I sound check, and that they didn't fit into society. So obviously there's little bits and pieces, there'll be caveats. So I know you probably might be saying a couple, but that's the essence of it. And that's the energy that it's driven by, particularly as it comes out of the medical world, which is linked to the schooling world. They all talk, that's all there. And that's where most of our children have spent all their time, is you go straight into school. If you haven't already been to the paediatrician, etc., that's that whole world. And obviously the world of let's do medication, let's do anything to try and fix your child without looking at the underlying energetics, the interconnectedness with the mother and the family, a whole lot of other things that obviously that's become my work. So then what we've got is we've gone from ASD and now we're moving into the world of neurodivergence, where it's more of a non-medical, you can just, self-proclaim, adults and children. But it still has links to the medical world, and I'll always keep pointing those out just to remind you, hang on, where is this actually sourcing from, this idea of neurodivergence? One of them that I see is that it's very much about, this is our brain, and our brain is, programming and driving us, which is not fundamentally the whole picture. It's very much science-based, which still comes back to that medical science world. Now, the energy, though, of the people collectively, this is what I feel into, is that what I see is that it's mostly, anyone, mothers of children or adults who've now said, I've got neurodivergence, or, the children is another thing, because the children aren't, speaking up so much about how they feel about neurodivergence. It's the adults that are playing this game or, experiencing this. And so one of the things is I've had a hard time fitting in. So if you're an adult or if you've got a child, it's been hard. It's been hard time fitting in here. We want to be seen as different, right? And so there is that separation. We are over here. We are neurodivergent. They're neurotypical, whatever you want to call all the other people. This is us. We are different, rather than the focus on disability. It's just now we are different. And we expect more acceptance. It's like, actually, hang on, we are humans here and we are important too. So there's all this empowerment energy of, hang on, who are we? And stepping out of the very, disempowered world of the medical term of, ASD. And obviously, I'm not trying to say that ASD is wrong. There's plenty of stuff to look at there. But again, sourcing from the energy of the medical world. Now we're sourcing a bit further out of the medical world. It's very much more about, again, validation. Link back to my other video that I've done a few now on neurodivergence, just to start to piece this all together. There's some focus on gifts. That's why we are able to focus on many things at once or whatnot. There's still a lot of validating of the challenges. That's what I see. Most people who are talking about their neurodivergence, if it's an adult or even their child's, they are this because of their neurodivergence. They have trouble with this because of their neurodivergence. So again, it's validating all the hard times that we've had, and then linking back to my video on 3 reasons that mums might label their child as neurodivergent, it often comes back to this validation. There's just a lot of heart, a lot of feeling that everyone's craving, please, feel with us about how hard it's been. And I will remind you, of course, it always starts with you. You have to feel first of how hard it's been for yourself if you feel like you're neurodivergent, and or as a mother of a child. So that's the swing. It's gone to neurodivergence. Now, I'm saying the swing because in my book, The Game of Life, I'll keep referring to it, I've written out energetic laws to what I see is the game of life and how we can play it that people haven't seen. I use it through analogy so you can get the idea. I give examples and I give my own stories as to how I see these energetic laws. We don't need science as such to prove them. This book is more about, do you want to remember that this truth that's there? We don't need to prove it through science as necessarily as you remembering it. And when women listen to my work, they go, you're putting words to stuff that I know. So what I've got is one of the energetic laws is the harmony exists between two poles. So everything has to swing both ways before it comes back to harmony in the middle. So what I see in this is that ASD has been out here. I'm just looking at my notes. There's something wrong. You don't fit in. Now it's swung to neurodivergence. There's nothing wrong. We do fit in. Even if we make our own bubble of neurodivergent people, we fit in. Something wrong, you don't fit in. There's nothing wrong. We do fit in. Then it's going to come into the middle. And that's what I'm seeing into the new way. What is going to be in the middle? Now, firstly, it's going to be a lot about everyone starting to look at, I am a big long list of gifts and challenges. It's in the stars. It's in our birth chart astrologically. It's, as I would say, in our soul agreement, which is, a piece of paper like this, all, scrunched up and stuck into our seed of intelligence that's within us, and it's driving us to make sure we land in scenes where we have those challenges and to make sure we land in scenes where we are able to express those gifts. So instead of just the neurodivergent people saying, hey, we've got these, these strong gifts, but we've also got these strong challenges, everyone is going to start to realize, oh, I have all these gifts and I have these challenges. Well, do I fit in? Do I not fit in? Is there something wrong with me? Where can I express my gifts? Everyone is doing this shuffle to go, where do I fit in and what is actually going on here? How am I playing this game of life actually? If we're breaking away from the medical world that's been dictating how we should live in the mainstream society. So we're all going to start smashing down this idea of fitting in. And when you don't choose to fit in and you're actually owning your extreme uniqueness, you see it as a superpower. And I use the word extreme uniqueness because we are so much more. And again, it's in my book on our soul agreement and our seed of intelligence of, again, a long list of all the little fine things that we're good at. So much that school doesn't, ever acknowledge. But those are the types of things. I'm very good with money. I'm very good at, making people feel welcome. I'm very good at tuning into how people feel. I'm very creative. All of these different gifts that you might have, again, if we list it all out, it's actually amazing. And that makes up your extreme uniqueness. And all of those together help you to your best soul path on what you can do to express yourself in your best way. And that brings energy and fulfillment, which most people are missing these days. So we're all going to start questioning, who am I? And should I fit in? Should I not? And then my challenges. What are these challenges? Like I actually do need to face my shadow side to see what, why is my path not going forth to my highest fulfillment? It's because of these challenges that are asking me to work through. So everyone is going to be more on an even playing field. There's a lot of traits listed in neurodivergence, I'd say, but I like animals. I'm rigid sometimes. I'm not neurodivergent. I don't identify with it at least, but I am half of those traits as well. So are other people. We're all a mixed bag of a million different traits. There doesn't need to be any boxing. We all need to come back together, and that's where we're going to come back to oneness, because with oneness we have compassion, we have harmony. When we are boxing ourselves, we are this versus this. It's separation, it's division, as most people will know in certain different ways. We need to smash that all back down, and that's that smashing down to go, actually, we've all got a bunch of traits. And how are we going about, again, creating beautiful spaces where we can express and lean into our gifts. And that's where it will come back into way more focus on gifts. Even then in the neurodivergent world, it's more validating the challenges. Into the future, it's going to be like, well, what gifts have we got? And really looking at super cool powers, even in our children from day dot, and keeping it there. Children are so intuitive when they're younger, but stress, and then obviously all the mama, you need to do this, you need to be this, you should go to school, you should, etc. That shuts off half of all our amazing, amazing gifts. So in my work, in mentoring mums, I'm helping them to stay open to their children's gifts, to be able to see it, to be able to nurture it, but you can't see it in someone else if you're not seeing it within you. And that comes back to that whole mother-child interconnectedness, the mother-child connection approach that I teach, to go, hang on, you need to look at yourself and you need to find your gifts. And when you start to do that, you start to go, oh, heck, there's not good places for me to go and express these gifts. That's where we're all going to start to move towards creating better spaces and places and communities to be able to accept each other's gifts and see the gifts as an important thing and move on to that. I'm just having a look to see if I've, so the main thing just again is reminding us that we're all needing to see aspects of ourselves that don't fit in. There's many of us that aren't neurodivergent that are actually, we've had troubles too, and we're having challenges as well, but we're still playing the game in, more of the mainstream world trying to fit in. So we haven't seen it, but the more you start to appreciate your own uniqueness, and that's scary because you have to then choose to stand more alone than fitting in as you start to, move towards your path on that, whether you've got a choice or not. As you start to be here, you start to then go, oh yes, actually, I also don't fit in. And then there's going to be everyone not fitting in. And that is going to be the best part, because then we just look at each other going, okay, I'll choose to co-create with you. I'll choose to co-create with you. There are no fences and boundaries, etc. between us. Now, the last thing is also moving from the brain. It's like ASD, there wasn't really big reasons. And again, vaccines and all of that. And that's one thing that is, coming up to be looked at and whatnot. But it's so much more than that. Then neurodivergence went to, it's the brain. It's your brain that's wired differently. And a lot of people are just saying the same thing because they've heard it from someone else. And that's on my hang on, whoa. Yes, there is a difference in your brain because they're picking it up with science. But then also there's so much more underneath that. And again, with my book, one of the big laws that I'm writing about, and most people start to go, oh yeah, I can't really deny that, is that our behaviors are driven from our unexpressed emotions. So if I am trying to control something, it's because I've actually got a whole lot of emotion and stuff swirling and stress inside me I'm trying to control, down to the nth degree in certain different ways as a child or an adult. But then this, the traumas, we've all had it. We've all had our hurts, and this plays out into how we behave and how we choose to live life. The words we say, the tone of voice we use, it's all driven by what's underneath. And intuitively, I can see it all in everyone. And once I call it out to go, oh, you're being sarcastic, you must be angry about that. Oh, what? And I'm like, yes, you must be. And then when we sit with it, it's like, oh, yeah. Anger drives being sarcastic. Anger drives being annoying to people. As an example, my husband used to complain because I'd use a teaspoon for something and leave it on the bench in case I needed to use it later. And he would get really angry, like, put these teaspoons away. And I started to be like, not going to clean it up. And why I didn't do that, and he was getting so frustrated because it was a big underlying resentment from when he was not supporting me when our first newborn was born in a certain way. And I had to work through that resentment to really clear it to the point where I want to clean up. I want to do nice things for you. I want to get along with you rather than going against him. So that's just a couple of examples of the emotion driving the behavior. And I help mums to put the finger on, why is my child sensitive to food, or they tiptoe walk, or the sensitivities. People automatically say it's sensory processing disorder. It's neurodivergence. But putting your finger on it, I go, it's actually trauma and stress that makes the system heightened, that it can't cope with extrasensory information. So what can we do to move through the stress, the first thing you can do is going back to yourself. And that's in one of my other videos on why a mum might diagnose or label their child as neurodivergent. Have a look at that to start to see where you can unravel this in the mother-child connection approach. That's the main thing to remember, is that this is all driven, and it's coming up. People starting to talk about trauma and whatnot. It's actually driven by emotion. As we start to come in out of the starry stuff, which is all the ASD, ADHD and all of that, and come down into the heart and the feeling, then we can resolve so much. So much changes when we come down into our hearts and we actually feel this stuff out. We're not ending up being rigid. We actually know where we want to socialize, and we choose to because we want to. We communicate better. All these signs of neurodivergence is actually changing when we come back into our heart. But most people who are in the paradigm, the world of neurodivergence, are not necessarily born feelers and getting into their emotions, and that's good and fine. It's all correct at this point. But there is a whole interplay, even in their family unit, who is the feeler and doing that feeling to pull each other into balance. And that's a whole other topic. But in case that starts to make you go, oh yeah, there's more to be seen than thinking it's just driven by the brain, there's absolutely so much more. And that comes down to energetics, which again, science and medical world and the schooling world aren't going to talk about, our interconnectedness. Trauma and emotions, it's starting to come up a bit, but there's way more to be seen. Again, I've written it out quite detailed in the book here, in my book, The Game of Life, about the emotions and where that starts from the beginning and how it's actually connected to our soul agreement and what happens when we feel it out. So if you're interested in looking at things in a different way, go to my website, heidihosking.com/shop to buy my book. I'll pop it in the comments below as well. But that's just a start to start to go, okay, yeah, if you don't feel like you want to label your child, then that's probably because you're already starting to move out to the new way. So take this on and play with it. Be in touch with me. Book in for a session with me if you'd like on heidihosking.com. I also do mentorships as well there. Otherwise, please do spread this message. Please spread this video to anyone that you feel like they might actually be looking for this. There's a lot of mums that are questioning, I don't know what to do. I don't know, if should I diagnose my child as neurodivergent? I don't know anything else. They're shipping around, and I know that I'm a person here to say, hey, there's another way. So please help me spread the message. That'd be wonderful. Do subscribe to my video, sign up to my email list, but also you can hit the notifications. I'll be putting more videos out like this as well. Thanks. Bye.